Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic of business communication, which is called the process of communication. In order to understand the whole concept of business communication, it is very much essential to know the concept of communication. I am Dr. Amar Sontake, Assistant Professor of NSS College of Commerce and Economics, Tardev, Mumbai. So student, let us know what do you mean by the communication. As we have know, the process of communication or the concept of communication is unavoidable in our daily routine. Human being cannot live without doing communication with each other because communication is an important and essential part of our life. We have to talk, we have to listen, we have to read, we have to write, and we do communication in our daily language. So, student, we are human being. We are rather different from other beings of this universe just because of the power of communication. It doesn't mean that only human beings are capable to do communication with each other because as we have known, the communication process is compulsory and it is prevalent everywhere. In fact, every being on this earth communicate with each other. So it is very much essential for all of us to know the part of communication or the concept of communication. So let us start from the definition of communication. What do you mean by the communication? Communication is the transformation of information from one person to another person. So communication is the transformation of information from one person to another person. So hereby in this definition you can see or you can observe that information word is very much important and essential in definition. Information is the soul of communication. Information is the central idea of communication. And in fact, it would not be wrong if I'm saying ki without information, communication does not exist. Okay, so base of communication is no doubt the information. So information is the thing which gives birth to the communication. So everyone is having his own kind of information. For example, if I'm 30, if I'm thirsty, if I'm hungry, then I'm hungry is a kind of information and I have to send that information to other person. Okay, so I can send that information to other person by using language other or by using body language. Okay, so let us discuss at first the process of communication. If I'm saying ki, the process of communication is scientific, it is systematic, then it would not be wrong because the process of communication is a systematical scientific process. Okay, so there are five major elements of the process of communication. Okay, the process of communication stands just because of these five major very important elements. If you are saying the communication process is occurring only between these two persons and only these are the two major elements like sender and receiver, then it is wrong because communication process always always depends on these three remaining parts too, like message, medium, feedback. So let us discuss individually what is sender, what is receiver, what is message, what is medium, and what is feedback. So at first, there is sender. Who is sender? Sender who thinks the message and who sends the message. Okay. Receiver. Receiver who receives the message. Receiver who understands the message. Receiver who evaluates the message. And receiver who gives feedback to the sender. Okay, so rather we can say that receiver is more important than the sender. Next, message. Message means the information of the communication process, which is very much essential. Then medium. Medium means the channel of communication, channel through which the information conveys. And last part is that the feedback. Feedback means the response. Response of receiver. It is the responsibility of receiver to give feedback to the sender. Now let us see the diagram. Okay, here is the sender who thinks the message and sends that message to the receiver. Here, okay, you can easily observe. Okay, so here sender is thinking and sending this message to the receiver. And what is receiver is doing? You know, receiver receiver is receiving the message. Receiver is trying to understand the message, and receiver is trying to judge or evaluate that message, and at the last receiver is giving the feedback. That receiver is giving feedback to the sender. Okay, so only the process of feedback which can give the completion to the process of communication. So sender is thinking and sending the message. Receiver who receives the message, understands the message, evaluates the message, and later on he gives the feedback. Now let us talk about medium and information. You know that information is the soul of communication. We have seen already that information means the message of the communication process. Let us discuss something about medium. What is medium? For example, in order to give the information of process of communication, I am giving this information in the medium of language, and that language is English. Any sender can select any kind of language. The only condition of proper communication is that receiver has to understand the messages, or receiver has to understand the medium of communication process. Medium should be simple. Okay, medium should be proper. Okay, so that receiver can receive his messages carefully. So there are two types of mediums. Okay, there are two types of medium. One is the verbal medium and another is the non-verbal medium. What do you mean by verbal medium, verbal communication and non-verbal communication? In short, sender can send his message to receiver by using verbal communication or verbal medium, or he can use non-verbal medium. For example, when sender uses any words or sentence or language, then it is using verbal communication. And if sender is not using any kind of language, but if he using his facial expressions, smile, gestures, postures, or body language to the receiver, then definitely he is using non-verbal medium of the communication. Okay, and at the last, when after receiving the message and after judging the message, after understanding the message, when receiver gives proper feedback to the sender, then we can say that the process of communication is completed. For example, if here is the sender and sender is asking the question to receiver, what is your name? Okay, what is your name? This is the information. Now sender is having the information, or sender would like to know the name of receiver. Then at that process, sender will ask at first the question, what is your name? So he is asking the question in the medium of English. Okay, what is your name? Okay, when sender sends his message in English to receiver at first will receive or will listen properly that message. Then later on in the second space or second step, receiver will try to understand that message. Okay, receiver will know कि sender would like to know my name. So receiver will try to understand the meaning of the medium, meaning of the information. And in the third step of the evaluation, receiver will decide whether I should tell my name to receiver or tell my name to sender or not, in which language I should give the feedback. Okay, whether I should use my colloquial or mother tongue, whether I should use English language, whether I should Chinese language, etc., etc. All these things can be defined and declared in the third process of evaluation, and later on when he will decide that I should tell my real name to sender, then at the last he will give the feedback to sender, like my name is Ramesh, my name is John, my name is Lily, etc., etc. Okay, so at the last part of feedback, receiver can give positive feedback, receiver can give negative feedback too. For example, if sender is asking what is your name, the receiver can say that I don't like to give my